Work session to order. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Okay, first order of business are the minutes from the October meeting. Once again, a thorough job on the minutes.
Yep.
Everyone's had a chance to review them.
Yep.
Anybody prepared to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Allison. Let's talk about tonight's agenda. 3 items, they all seem pretty clear, but let's talk about the first one. Anybody have any questions or thoughts for clarification purposes? No? How about number 2?
Yeah, number 2, do they have a, in what they have now, do they have a right to do repair work?
No, that was the reason why I brought them back into the board. The planning board's resolution of approval was very specific in what they were approved to do on the site, and this wasn't one of the contemplated activities at the time. So
Okay, but my question is still valid. Do they, with this,
Your question was always valid.
thank you. Yeah, you're very
It
nice.
wasn't clear.
It wasn't clear, that's correct. With this application, this is only an application to do, what do you call it?
the New York
Inspection.
State
Inspections,
Right.
okay? It doesn't say anything about repair. So in the inspection part, does it refer to repair or not?
I thought that there was a reference to not necessary, associated.
Yeah, that was my recollection. So the
Yeah.
question is, what does that entail? Is that what
Yeah,
you're asking?
yes.
And
right,
we're
yeah.
certainly
So what
going
kind of
to,
repairs
we're
do you
certainly
want?
going to have to get into that.
But I mean, I wanted to ask Carol,
Yeah.
right now, what do they have an okay to do other than the inspection? You know, can they do other repairs?
I'm not entirely sure if you would consider it to be repairs, but right now, they're allowed to do the detail work, and they're allowed to do the oil changing on the site,
Okay.
windshield wipers.
Yeah, but I mean, when you put your car on a, for the inspection,
Correct.
all right, it says emissions problem,
Right.
okay? Are they capable of saying, well, we can fix your emission problem?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, we're certainly going to have to ask that.
Or even if they're gonna do it?
And as there are places in New York State, my understanding is New York State law allows places to inspect even if
They don't repair.
they do not provide potentially all the necessary repairs.
Right.
Yeah, so
That's my
we'll
understanding.
ask.
Also,
That doesn't make sense.
But let me, so let's just say that they come in tonight and they say, we're gonna do everything.
All repairs. It could be-
We're gonna do brake work, we're gonna do tire work, we're gonna do engine work, we're gonna do everything. Are we sufficiently advertised for that? And maybe, Pete, if you wanna jump in, that's fine too.
If it's related to an inspection process,
Mhm.
I think we would be okay.
Yeah, the notice talks in terms of to allow in New York State inspection services. So whatever would fall within that definition.
All right, so that inspection services, we would say, in fact, means more than simply inspecting.
Doing the physical inspection, correct.
It means more than that. It means also changing light bulbs if lights are out, or changing brake pads if brakes are, or tires, I suppose, assuming again that that's
Well,
what they
maybe,
ask.
I mean, it depends on what is meant by New York State inspection services.
Well-
If that's
Well,
part of
something
it.
that doesn't pass the New York State inspection. It's certain things, it's tires, it's emissions, okay? I mean, they could
Emergency
look and
brake
see,
is
yeah,
always
emergency
one,
brake, they can
Right.
see a light bulb out. How far are they gonna go? I don't know, we'll discuss it maybe during the...
That's a very valid question. They may not want to perform some of
Okay.
those more intricate repairs that may need to be done.
And not to press it farther then, but to answer the question afterwards, say they're allowed to put a muffler on if a muffler's no good, right, on an inspection? Can somebody just drive in and go, hey, my muffler's no good, can I do it? I don't need an inspection, I just want my muffler.
Oh, a very good question, and I think I don't think they're asking for that, but that's a
Okay.
good point.
Right, yeah, I don't think they're asking.
Only
for it.
those repairs associated with that particular inspection.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Will
We'll
we
find
then
out.
limit it to only the repairs needed to pass
Well,
inspection?
fair question
Oh,
as well.
absolutely, yeah. I mean, if they come in and ask for repairs, it's a gas station.
Or
when
service
you give 'em
station,
Or
yeah.
service station, why wouldn't you give them repairs? But if they're,
Well,
they can't do it, or they don't want to do
I'm
it.
not entirely sure they want to be considered that type of a full, I mean, it's a valid question to ask,
Yeah,
but I'm not entirely sure they want to be considered like a Monroe muffler or a Valvoline or, you know, the guy who does the repair work in the village of Penfield, full service type repair. I'm not sure if they want to be considered.
Well,
that.
and they can answer that,
They can
but
answer
the
that,
question
right.
that we are talking about now that we want to make sure we've done is if indeed it's more than just changing light bulbs, that sort of thing, have we properly advertised? And we'll find out. We'll, you know, Pete can keep working on it, because what's the worst that could happen if it wasn't? We table it.
Well, here's the answer to the question about
Look at
that.
Pete,
So,
on top of things as usual.
so the notice refers specifically to Article 3, Section 3-77C. So if you look that up, that is auto repair shops. That's very broad. So
Okay.
I would say it's covered.
Good, thanks.
okay.
Do you know why they were limited initially? Just because they didn't ask for more?
I think that was the history, that they just didn't ask for anything more.
Then there could be other things associated with repair shops compared to just oil changes, you know, or washing cars or gas. So, I mean, there's welding, there's,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know,
Right,
it's a more entailed, that's.
that's right, there's a heck of a lot more training of the staff that has to occur.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Certifications as well.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else on 2 for clarification?
Do they allow inspection at the other Delta Sign?
I don't think
I don't
so.
think they have a sign up for it.
I don't think they perform there, and I don't think the previous resolutions have ever granted it there.
They probably never asked for it.
No.
Okay. All right, moving on to number 3. Any questions or for clarification on that?
I'm gonna be a little confused on where they actually wanna put this thing, but.
I went in
I
and
looked at
talked
the
to.
picture and I looked at that and I go, maybe it's going where the ice machine's going.
Exactly.
'Cause that's the only place
I
I
went
think
in
it
and
could go.
talked to the manager, quote, at the
Yeah.
time, you know, there's probably one for every
Yeah.
shift.
Mm-hmm.
But to the right, if you walked in the door, to the right, there's an ice machine
Yeah.
there. That's where
Okay.
I put it.
Yeah, cause the
Where's
picture
the
just
ice
showed
machine?
like the crash ballards were over to the
Well,
side next
That's
to
a
the
good-
ice
they've got
Did you
machine.
hear what he
Machines.
said? Where's the ice machine going? It's a good question.
they got
Something
two.
you can ask.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, they
two.
did.
The building.
They had one on the left side of the door and one on the right.
Mhm.
You're right.
Okay. Anything else? All right, we'll close the work session, take a brief recess, and reconvene in 10 minutes for the public hearings. Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a regularly scheduled meeting of the Penfield Zoning Board of Appeals. Tonight's meeting is going to take place in 2 parts. The first part will be our public hearings. We'll ask the applicant to come up to the podium and give us a name and address, and then explain to the board members why the relief being requested should be granted. Once the applicant is done with the presentation, board members will likely have some questions, and then we'll ask anyone in the audience that cares to come up and speak about the application to do the same thing. Come up to the podium, give us name and address, and then talk about the application. After the hearings are adjourned, we'll take a brief recess, and then we will reconvene in the back of the room to deliberate on tonight's application, and then also take care of any other business the board may have. Members of the public are certainly welcome at both the public hearing and the deliberations, although the deliberations generally are time reserved for conversation amongst board members with staff, and sometimes with our council. A fairly light agenda tonight. As I said, you're all welcome to stay, but if for some reason you want to go home and have dinner or go home and shovel snow, you can leave, of course, and call tomorrow Harold or Allison or anyone in the zoning department to find out what action, if any, the board took on a particular item. Every month, I like to point out that the town does a very good job, in my opinion, of notifying neighbors and other citizens about the applications that are on our agenda. And the town does that to make sure that people are fully informed of their right to come in and speak about the application if they choose to do that. The town does that via the internet, cable TV, requiring applicants to put signs on the property. Town also mails postcards to neighboring property owners if you live within a certain distance. And I think we believe the system works pretty well. And we certainly welcome comments from all citizens. And that being said, I'd ask everyone to rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we start, where is Julia? Is Julia here? Come on up for a second, Julia. No, it's nothing that dramatic.
It's just the warm-up for him.
Yes. So I understand that you're a student at Hilton High School?
Yes.
Wow, came all the way across the county for this meeting, huh?
Yeah.
Well, good. And it's for a project or?
It's for community service. What our teacher requires us to do is get at least about 10 hours of community service, in which 2 or 4 hours may be used toward a local government meeting.
Oh, great. Well, welcome. And certainly, if you want to stick around afterwards and ask any questions, we'll do our best to answer them.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Harold, may we have the first application, please?
Application number 1, Virginia and Todd Pschierer, 25 Woodlyn Way, Penfield, New York, 14526, requests an area variance under Article 3-3-37-A of the code to allow the construction of a pool deck with less setback at 25 Woodland Way. The property is owned by Virginia and Todd Pschierer and is zone R-1-20. This is SBL number 124.16-2-27. This is application number 14Z-0062. Come on up.
Hi, my name is Virginia Pschierer. This is Todd Pschierer, and I'm the co-owner of the house at 25 Woodland Way. We built I had a pool built over the summer, and the issue with our lot at this point is that it's a triangular pie-shaped lot with many, many trees along one edge of the property. So it's always been very difficult to know exactly where our property line is. It's sort of like a little bit of a forest there. So we did the best we could as far as determining where our pool was going to go, and then with the thought that eventually there would be a deck that would go behind the pool near the property line. We thought we were at least 15 feet in from the property line when we put the pool in. Got the pool permit, did that all, put the pool in, got the deck permit, and our contractor was digging the holes and had the person come out and inspect the holes for their depth, and that's when he said, I think you might be too close to the property line. You might be within that 10-foot setback. So I couldn't find any way of figuring out our property line. The person who did our survey, we bought the house 20 years ago, so the person doing the survey was retired, and I don't think they used CAD at the time, so there wasn't any way of having a record of our survey. So I just did the best I could with some high school math and figured out, based on our survey map, the best that we could as far as the property line goes, and I think I have a fairly good idea of where it is. So there's a piece of the corner, the back corner of the deck that at its worst point probably crosses the setback by about maybe 2 or 3 feet. And then it sort of closes down to it, sort of like a pie shape or a triangular shape, so that it's not encroaching at all anymore.
Okay.
Okay, did you finish putting the deck up?
No, it's waiting.
It's still waiting, okay.
Yep.
How large is your property?
It's about 0.4 acres.
Okay. And what are the dimensions of the deck?
I think it's 32, let's see here, somewhere I might have a picture of it.
5 feet, I believe?
Yeah, 32 feet long, maybe, and yeah, 5 feet wide. On the back part of the deck, where we're hoping to have a, sort of a railing that'll give us some more privacy and from the neighbors, and maybe allow them to have a little bit more privacy too.
Okay. What materials are the deck constructed of?
The posts are pressure-treated wood, and then the rest of the deck is composite,
Okay.
and the pressure-treated will be wrapped.
Okay. And you said there are a long row of trees. Are these trees along where your deck is?
Yes.
So it would be buffering for the neighbors?
Yes.
Okay. On your application, you thought you were 8 feet. You thought you were 8 feet, you're actually 7 feet. So you need an extra foot variance.
Something like that.
Yeah, according to our staff that
Yeah,
measured,
the best that I can
Yeah,
tell from our property.
Based on the way she tried to calculate the actual dimension, it wasn't an exacting science, and I told the board, and my information to them was probably 7 feet, but it's in between 7 and 8 feet.
Okay.
Why didn't you give her?
So we'll
you
give her
3
3 feet to make sure that she's safe,
You're
if we give it to her.
confident that would cover it?
Yeah, I'm confident that the 3 feet will cover it, and you know, it was a little over 2 feet over, but it's difficult to find the property line through the trees.
Is there any reason why the deck couldn't be on the other side of the pool?
Well, first of all, it would keep it so that we couldn't see in the pool from our yard, you know, so, because we're going to have a sort of a backing to the deck, like a railing or whatever, so we wouldn't be able to see into the pool. And the shape of our yard is such that we barely had enough room for the pool as it was. We're trying to get it off to the side so that we can actually do other activities besides just having a pool and nothing else in our backyard.
Okay, I think that's all I need.
Anybody else on the board have a question?
You know, just a statement, you put in the poles already though, right?
The
corner
poles are standing,
And they're
waiting.
cemented in.
Yes,
That's the best thing to do right now.
yes. We're hoping for Sunday and Monday
Right.
with approval.
Be a little hard to dig it now and cement.
Yes.
Anyone in the audience care to speak about this? Okay, thank you very much.
Application number 2, James Boglioli, Esquire, Delta Sonic Car Wash Systems Incorporated, 570 Delaware Avenue, Buffalo, New York, 14202. Requests an expansion of an existing conditionally permitted use under Article 3-3-77-C of the Code to allow New York State inspection services at 1841 Empire Boulevard. The property is owned by Betterson Development Company Incorporated and is zoned GB. This is SBL number 093.15-1-64.1. This is application number 14Z-0061.
Good evening, Matthew Oates, representing Delta Sonic. With me this evening is Mr. Hodstick and Mr. Kennedy from the Empire facility. We are requesting a conditional use permit to allow for auto repair at the Delta Sonic facility. The request is to allow us to provide New York State automobile inspections. The state requires that any facility providing the inspections be a licensed motor vehicle repair shop and that they're able to provide light repairs. We are looking to do repairs that will come up during an automobile inspection process, a chipped windshield, replacing tires possibly, doing some minor brake work, any headlights, things of that nature. Any larger issues that come up, say with your engine, with your transmission, your exhaust, things of that nature, we are not looking to take care of at our facility. We do have other repair shops that we can recommend to our customers to get the work done, but we're not looking to become a full-service repair shop that can take care of all those problems. It's still trying to get the customers in and out in a fairly quick time frame is what we're still shooting for. So if we had a facility backed up for 5 hours doing one repair, that doesn't really go with what we're trying to provide for our customers. The reason we're looking to do this is something that our customers have asked us over the years if it's a service we provide, kind of going with when you get your oil change, you kind of want to time it with getting your vehicle inspected for that month because you don't want to go to one place and get your oil change done, then on another day have to go someplace else to get your inspection done. We also don't really take appointments, so you come to the facility, you're able to get it done right away. You don't have to say, make an appointment to come at 3:30 in the day. If after work at 5:30 one day you realize you have an extra hour, you can just swing by, get it done, and get your inspection complete. There's not any new construction associated with this application. All the work would be done in the existing facility that is there. The letter that we submitted kind of went through all the different requirements the town has. I'm not going to go through all of them, but we do feel we meet the standards for getting the permit. And if there are any questions, be happy to answer them, or Mr. Hosnick or Mr. Kennedy can answer them as well.
Okay, yes, that was a good explanation. You were here, obviously, earlier when we talked about it.
Yes.
Just one question on the repairs. You're going to do light repairs on an inspection, but on an inspection only? In other words, can I come in with my car and say I want my windshield fixed, and it wasn't on an inspection?
We do, yes, we do like some crack repair, things like that on windshields and small items like that. But we're not looking to say you can come in and get your brakes repaired or your muffler repaired. But I mean, like, a cracked windshield is something that we offer for a service. I don't really know if that falls under repair or really our detailing portion of it, but that is something that we do offer and that we're looking to offer for customers. But the kind of, I think it would be, we're not looking to be a destination repair shop. What the business is oil change, detailing, car wash, kind of come, you can get your general services done. It's not a place where you make an appointment, say drop your car off at 7 a.m. and maybe 2 days later you pick it back up because there's a full line of work that has to be done and it's a large bill, or we have to order parts, things of that nature. It's kind of, that's what we're just kind of generally looking
So I
to
guess the statement probably that is true, and you tell me if it's true or not, is that you are going to do no other repairs other than what would be done under a New York State inspection that needed to be repaired?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe
Well,
that's.
let me-
I'm-
you know, if I follow
Yo,
up on
go
that.
ahead, you go right ahead.
Because what I would like to know, I think maybe what Joe is driving at is it your intent to only do such repairs as are made necessary by the inspection?
In general, yes. That's what we're
Okay.
looking to do, is be able to do the
So-
repairs made necessary by the inspection. But
Right.
if a customer, say, is there and they're not there for an inspection, but they have a cracked windshield, I mean, that is a service that we'd like to offer, and
Okay.
we'd still like to be able to do it. So while we're not going to be advertising as a repair shop, we would advertise for automobile inspections. In the same way, we really wouldn't want to turn away a customer if they're, say, getting just their oil change and something comes up, because we also do, when you get your oil change, we go over the car for you as well. We check your fluids, we go over the car, we look at it, we look at the tires, we offer tire rotation. I mean, if someone came in there and say their inspection was in November, but it was in June, but their tires are completely bald and you can actually like see, say, like the steel that's in the tires, we look at that as, well, that's kind of a safety issue. We would like to point it out and be able to offer that as something, but we're not going to say offer, hey, come to Delta Sonic and you can get your tires like a Mavis tire, a Monroe muffler, which I think is what the board was wondering before.
Yeah.
I hope I kind of explained.
You did,
that
but it leaves me in a little
correctly.
dark area.
I'd like-
Correct me if
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Can
that's
you,
about.
is there a way that you can define for us what repairs you would be allowed to do, other than to say pursuant to an inspection?
If you want, yeah, if you would like to.
Sorry, my name is Leo Tenedy. We'd be doing brake work, minor suspension, like as far as tie rod ends, you know, because that's what controls the tires from staying straight and stuff like that. Just anything that would require New York State, you know, to pass a New York State inspection, you know, any of those items, just trying to make the cars on the road safer.
How about, but you're not installing mufflers,
No, we're not going to be doing
exhaust
mufflers.
systems?
No, like O2 sensors, you know, stuff like that.
But again, just to clarify, if somebody comes in and needs an O2 sensor, but doesn't need an inspection, you would provide, you would do
Yes, we
that?
would provide the service at that point.
Okay.
Yeah. Is this, well, I guess we discussed this with the lawyer. would this fall under this category? I'm trying to help you, really. If you need it, if you need something special to do this other than just an inspection sticker, you know, maybe we can clarify it here. We don't want you to have to come back. Am I correct, fellas?
Well, it was my reading of the advertisement is it was for inspection services and associated services, which I took to mean any repairs made necessary as a result of the
That's-
inspection.
Right.
It seems like your intent is a little beyond that, which is
Deeper, yeah.
fine, but we just need to make sure that it was advertised properly so members of the public that may want to come to speak about this were properly notified of that, and I don't, you know. Sure, come on up, give us your name and.
Okay, my name is Dubravko Hadzik. I'm a location manager. I just want to clarify what Leah just mentioned, is the services, as per New York State inspection, you would have to connect the vehicle to their system to pass the inspection.
Right.
At certain times, it will cause the emission code that would meaning that either it's an oxygen sensor, what he just mentioned, it could be that. Those are really minor repairs. If it comes to installing mufflers or doing any major work, you would require actual lift to get the vehicle up in the air. We're not looking to do that. That would be the work that we would refer the customers to any repair shop for major repair if it was required. So it wouldn't, you know, we're not looking to have them come and do the full repair of the shop. It's really like a gentleman mentioned already, it's a simple stop for customers to get the services done, because a lot of these vehicles are newer. A lot of vehicles that come to our facility on Empire Blvd or here on Penfield Road are really under 5 years old, a lot of vehicles.
Yeah.
So most of them are very simple procedure for the actual inspection, which you connect the OBD2 sensor to it, the reader, it goes through the New York State Department of Motor Vehicles, and pretty much it's a simple process to pass the inspection. The brakes are the really simplest, one of the simpler works that would be done on it, and it can be done at a time. If the customer comes and insists on some repair to be done, if it's something that's as simple as that, whether it's the brakes or oxygen sensor or the wipers, or that's something we will be probably able to do, and that's probably the extent that we would go with that. We wouldn't go any major work as far as taking the whole engine apart.
Do you have lifts at that location?
We have those low to the ground lifts that just lifted about, I would say about a foot off the ground, about 2-3
3
feet.
feet at the most.
At the most. So it's pretty much designed for like a tire replacement rotations, which we already do tire rotations on the facility.
Right.
So the only really other additional work we would do at that point, if it was related to the tires, would be installing the tires. That's about it, really.
But they do, you do want to do it. See, Danny's question was very specific, and I guess mine is too. You applied to do inspections.
Correct.
And then you,
No, go finish, I'm just gonna.
okay,
ask
and then you said you're gonna do some of the work associated with that inspection. Then my question was, if someone comes in and wants something that would come under an inspection but didn't have an inspection, were you gonna do it? And your answer was yes, because it's two different things, I mean, legally. And we're not trying to be nitpicky, we're trying to get you the right permits and the right to do things the way you want to do them.
Yes, no,
Okay.
understand that completely, understand that the application came in as motor vehicle
Inspection,
inspection.
right.
And that. With understanding that, would the board take under, I guess, continue the application for this evening to allow us to do the inspection so we can continue that process, if the board chose to allow us, and then we'll make a separate application
Okay.
to be able to do the repairs that we want to be able to do, not associating them with motor vehicle inspection, so that if a customer came in with the bad O2 sensor, they could. get
Sure,
it
sure,
changed.
the answer
I
is sure,
understand what
we'll
the
do
board
that,
is
but
saying.
I think we should also, our council may say it's advertised properly even for those repairs not associated.
Right.
And if he does, great. So I think, board, I'd ask you to assume, for purposes of questioning, that our lawyer's going to say it was properly advertised for all repairs. And let's ask the questions now. If we can avoid coming back, we will.
I got a question.
Yeah, and that's why I brought it up, just so that you maybe don't have to come back. If we can sort it all out tonight and it was advertised properly and we did it legally and you did it legally, I don't
Julia,
have a
this is
problem.
called process. And so it's important. Yeah, it's important just for Julia.
How many vehicles can you work on at one time inside?
Three.
3 vehicles.
3?
Yeah.
And then, and you envision how many customers, you're saying you don't need an appointment. What if 10 people came in?
Then they would obviously go on a, we would give them a wait time, just like we do right now. If we have 10 oil changes pull up, it's gonna be 15 minutes before I start. Next customer, it's gonna be another 15 minutes before we start.
So this goes on already to some extent.
In typical repair shop, which I already have experience working in with the actual inspection services, the inspection should never take more than 20 to 30 minutes, depending on the vehicle itself, because by the New York State requirement, they have to take at least one wheel off, inspect the brakes, inspect the tires, and connect the vehicle to the system so it actually gets read by the New York State and for the emission. And pretty much it's a very simple, straightforward process. We're not looking really to extend that time by any means. It's really, like we mentioned, a simple stop for customers, because a lot of our customers come obviously for gas and car wash and quick cleaning, and we want to get this into a package because throughout the years, and I've been working in adult sign for almost 20 years, we get a lot of questions about this service. We have strayed away for years, but we're trying to make it as simple as possible for customers.
I guess my other point is this isn't going to appreciably increase the number of cars that'll be on site at any one time.
That's a good point. That's an important point.
I mean,
It's, go ahead.
maybe 10, 12 cars a week. I mean, nothing major to the extent. I mean, we're already doing, 40 to 50 oil changes per day anyways.
And you have the capacity to have those cars in a spot that they're not going to interfere with
Correct.
traffic
Absolutely.
coming and going, the gas traffic.
Absolutely, because that's with the way the customers come, they come from the other side of the building, so on the opposite side of the gas station itself. And there's plenty of room in the back, basically, for those vehicles to go. But the way the system is set up, like I said, the process, we would dedicate a bay just for that process if it's inspection, because it does not happen with every vehicle that comes to our service, and we can fairly fast process the vehicle through.
So if you have 3, let's say you have 3 you're working on, how many cars do you have that you could, or how much room do you have to have cars waiting for an
In
inspection?
the shop itself, we can put,
We can probably store 6, 7 cars inside the shop.
Inside?
Inside.
Okay, any more
besides
room
the 3 that are
outside?
already on the bay. And then
Besides the
outside,
3 that are waiting, and then we have a big not parking area, but
There's a stacking area behind
we could put an
Oil,
easy
the
10
interior
to
detail.
15 cars behind
back
easily,
there as well.
Outside?
outside.
Okay.
in a lane that.
All right, well, because I was thinking of maybe we put some sort of limit requiring you to say,
No,
come back in an
no.
hour, but it sounds like,
No, it's pretty, a lot of
Yeah.
room in there, so
Yeah.
definitely.
And that's fairly separated from the car wash
okay,
itself.
Should I finish now?
go ahead, Joe.
You buy this machine, right? And obviously, it's got to hook up to Albany. So you said there'll be no outside construction, but inside, what will you have to do? Obviously, you'll have to put some kind of cable that attaches to Albany or some kind of electrical system.
It's already, it's
It's a
through
data
an
network,
Ethernet
so,
cable.
yeah, so it's connected already, like, we have that already available.
Okay, so you just buy this machine, plug it
Basically,
in?
just
Plug
plug
it
it
in
in,
and-
yeah, everything's already available, so we're really not doing any changes to the facility when it comes to
Okay,
that part.
and you're going to put it on the end
Yes.
bay?
Yeah, it's all internet-based, communicating with Albany and sending.
Yeah, even our
Okay,
phone-
through internet, right,
We have
and it's
all the
already there.
infrastructure already,
All our phones are already on the internet, as is.
And we're in one of those bays, I was there, I think I talked to you. On the end bay, you're going to put this? or-
Correct.
So it's going to be against the wall, it's going to be out of the way, and that's the bay that you would use for inspections?
Correct.
Okay, and now let's talk about advertisement. We just went through signs with you guys and everything else, right? How are you going to advertise that you are now an inspection station?
Most of it's word of mouth or internet on our
Okay.
website.
So you're not talking about anything new on your sign?
No.
No.
Or on the
Only
building,
sign-
or-
Only sign that's gonna,
vehicle repair.
only sign that's gonna be,
Gotta put
we
something.
gotta put on the building is the registered repair shop from New York State.
Yeah, the New York State
Yeah,
sign.
that's the only sign that we put out there, yep.
Okay, but that will go on the building, and that's part of this?
And we wouldn't push any type of signage ordinance requirements, because it is a requirement from the
Required.
Division of Motor Vehicles.
Okay.
That they have the two medallions, one for inspection services and one for repair services.
Gotcha.
And it's also something else that we're able to check when vehicles come in, because I've actually done it myself, going to the grease facility. End of the month, they'll come in like, oh, right here for your inspection, because it's just something they look at when they're coming out to check the car.
Gotcha.
As well, because I can't tell you how many.
Okay, I just wanted to clear up this advertisement, because
Yeah.
I think we just went through signage with them, right? in
Yeah, at
front
the
of
other
their building.
location, sure.
Okay, that's all I got.
Do you anticipate any significant increase in the noise level as a result of this?
No, because we're already removing tires with
Yeah.
the air gun and everything.
Okay, and what's the closest house anyway? It's pretty far away.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
I'm not sure.
At
I know
least-
Behind the shop is Parkland.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the residential zone, I believe, that is close, is actually the parkland that's
Right.
behind
Well,
the
they're
facility, and there's a
To
couple homes that run.
the south, there's a couple of houses, residences that are located in general business zoning district that
Yeah.
run down along Smith Road, or runs
Yeah.
down along Smith Road.
I would say at least 100 yards, I would say, at least.
All right. Anyone in the audience care to speak about this? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Application number 3, Blue Rhino Propane, 1 Liberty Plaza, Liberty, Missouri, 64068. Requests a special permit for outside storage and display under Article 4-4-24 of the code to allow the installation of a propane tank exchange cabinet at 2180 Penfield Road. The property is owned by Hess Retail Stores LLC and is Zone GB. This is SBL number 140.01-1-4. This is application number 14Z-0063.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ben Brooks. I work for Hess Retail Stores, LLC. I'm talking about the Hess Station 32357. The Speedway number is number 7669. It's located at 2180 Penfield Road in Penfield, New York. We're requesting relief so that we are able to compete in the sale of propane at our site for the benefit of our guests. We're looking to place a 44-inch by 28.5-inch by 66-inch cabinet. We're going to place this on the right side of the building as you're looking at the building. And I believe the drawing that they submitted to you is off. I actually had a conference call about this earlier today. It's
Looks
not
like
going,
it's in
it's
the
not going to be
building.
placed inside the building.
Yeah, right, well, that's what it looks like.
So where you see, I don't know if you guys all have a picture of it currently of the drawing.
This is that one.
Provide some clarity for where it's going to go.
That's the only one that I have.
Yeah, that's it.
So they currently have 2 pylons positioned right outside of the building. That's actually where the cage is going to go. The pylons are going to go right where the concrete curb meets the asphalt. There is a emergency shutoff switch that's actually 45.5 inches from the corner. So if we place that cabinet, it's exactly 44 inches. The switch will be fine on the other side of the cabinet.
That's for the
For the
gas
fuel
pumps?
pumps, yep,
Fuel
for
pumps.
fuel pumps.
All right, any questions?
Do you plan on leaving the ice maker right next to it then?
The ice maker will be slid down a little bit further from where it currently is. Again, this map isn't drawn to scale. It'll be slid down so that you still have access to the emergency shutoff switch that's there. I'm not sure what the clearance requirement is, but whatever that is what
Let's say, I
we'll...
was gonna ask, do they have any requirements for the switch, if you put the propane cabinet right next to it, and it's right
Right.
up next to the edge, are you required to have so many feet around it to access it? If that's the case, and you can't fit the tank there, or the cabinet there, where does it go?
We could remove the ice maker. We have, or ice merchandiser. We have 2 there anyways,
Mm-hmm.
so we could always get rid of one if we needed to.
Okay, and then the cabinet might sit where the ice maker is then?
Yep.
Okay. Any kind of logos or graphics or things like that on the side of the cabinet? It didn't really show. What color is it going to be?
I don't have the answer to that. I know it would probably be what the typical logos that Blue Rhino has on most of their cabinets.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe it would be anything out of what they would normally display on their cabinets.
Okay. Any signage above the cabinets on the side of the building mounted for any safety signs or anything like those things required?
Whatever the requirement is, I'm sure they would put up. Again, I'm not actually sure on that, but no additional Blue Rhino signage anywhere on the store.
Okay. And in terms of protection for pedestrians, will this obstruct views of, for cars coming up and blocking pedestrians from actually coming out the sidewalk or anything like that?
No, it'll be placed right up against the building with, I'm not sure the setback or requirement that they have to have between the building and the cabinet, but it will be placed as far back as possible. And right now, I believe there's some bushes and dirt in there right now.
Okay. In terms of filling the cabinets, would the trucks pull right up to the side of the building? Has that been worked out yet in terms of how they would obstruct flow of traffic or things like that?
I don't know. Typically, when we have our Pepsi vendors or our Coke vendors there, they pull up on the outside of the parking lot and then they wheel the product up. My guess is, we would do the same thing with the propane. The other thing we don't want to do is block our guests from being able to park right in front of our stores.
Right. The propane cabinet would stay locked, and then someone would have to come inside to
Correct.
access it?
Yep.
I think that's all I have.
Any other questions from the board? That's a very busy location.
It's very busy. It's one of our busiest stores.
Which is good. Are you fully confident that this addition here isn't going to cause any problems traffic-wise, and that you've decided that's the best place for it to make sure that there aren't any obstructions?
Absolutely. I think when we put the Burger King in last year, it
Right.
probably caused more obstructions than this thing would possibly cause.
Okay.
And we've been performing very well with that.
Harold, have we typically asked for input from the fire marshal on a location or the town engineer? If we haven't, we haven't, and I'm not looking to treat these guys any
Generally
different.
speaking, the propane exchange tank industry are very comfortable with the fire codes that exist both in the state and nationally. And for their own protection and their own liability protection, they comply with all the aspects of the requirements that would be coming out of the fire code, which would the fire marshal would be expecting.
All right.
That's all they're doing.
And that'll be a condition of any approval?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. Nothing else?
I just have, actually, I have a question to you, Harold. We have a number of these Blue Rhino cabinets around town. Has there been any problems with them?
Not to my knowledge. No.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Anyone in the audience care to speak about this? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, that's, public hearings will be adjourned. We'll take a very brief recess and reconvene in the back of the room. Thank you all very much.
It's a type 2 action, so no further action is required.
Second. Any further discussion on the seeker?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye. Okay, whether an undesirable change will be produced, no, there are plenty of other pools and decks in the neighborhood. Whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some feasible method other than the variance. Already the pool is up, footers are in, the things are already done, and also it wasn't really their mistake. It was, there was a mix-up on what kind of a setback they had, so I don't think we should worry about that. Whether the variance is substantial, no, it's 3 feet. Whether the proposed area variance will have an adverse effect, no. Whether it was self-created, yes, it was self-created, but again, she felt she had been given approval before they started. So I move we grant a 3-foot variance just to be sure that they get the flow variance that they need for the pool deck.
Second.
Further discussion?
I just wanted to comment, if it's that hard to tell where the line is, then
Yeah.
it's almost by definition, it isn't going to create a significant problem, so.
Yeah, good point. Okay, so we have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 2.
On this one, I just want to really make perfectly clear, that if we grant this, that they're allowed to do the repairs associated with inspections, correct? Correct. For all other things, also, even though they didn't inspect the car, they can still come in and do those workings, or those jobs that we're talking about. Am I making that clear? Am I lawyerly enough?
Yeah, I guess what I'm wondering is, we really didn't go into so much your self-limitations, in the sense of, there are some repair, you're gonna do an inspection, and you're gonna find that certain things need to be done. Some of them, you guys have clearly stated you're not doing. Is it possible, you tried a little bit, and Is it possible for you to compile a list of what you will do, and we could make that part of the resolution? Or is that, do you want to not limit yourself like that?
We can, like.
Or is it easier to say what you won't do?
Yeah,
Like engine repairs, like major engine repairs, taking apart the engine or transmission.
Some way so that we know what you're gonna do and you know what you're gonna
Because
do.
once, if you were to grant them permission to do under this provision for auto repair,
Anything.
that's pretty broad.
Yes,
so
you could do collision work.
So,
We wouldn't do that.
Well, I know that, and
But-
that's why I'm just trying to get so we can have something
but
that's
if they grant
as
you that
clear as
permission, yeah.
we can make it.
I mean, well, I don't know if you want to get into that, because if a customer comes in and they got a mirror that's broken off,
Mhm.
that fails New York State inspection, would that be considered collision?
And if you guys said you wanted to do that minor collision or whatever,
I mean, that item would have to be repaired in order for that customer.
would you do that? Would you put a new mirror
I
on?
would put a new mirror.
Okay, well,
Or a new headlight or tail light.
yeah.
I have a question.
I can say
Would it be
things that are associated with the inspection.
Well,
but
he
it
just
could
gave an example of
Yeah.
one that
I
is.
was gonna,
But I mean, use it.
New York State requires a certain punch list, right?
Correct.
Is there a way you could say, here's the punch list, this is what we won't be able to repair here? And be done with it that way? Is that the easiest way? Or this is what we wouldn't be able to,
Typically, not anything on the New York State inspection that we really wouldn't repair.
I mean, in terms of, let's
It's
say,
just you don't want it right now.
Just say that
Muffler's
that's
one.
what you
It would
would do.
Brakes?
It said muffler
Pretty
brakes.
much if you said, won't be doing engine repair, transmission repair, and exhaust system repair,
Brakes?
Brakes would.
brakes would, but those would be 3 items that would not be done.
You guys okay with that then? Those
Yeah.
are three
Yeah.
pretty broad categories.
I know it. I mean, and don't get me wrong, you're kind of limiting yourself, because
If something that does change, or say if the business
then
model
you'd
also
have to come
changes.
back, and that's what I was trying to help you not to do, but if you're comfortable with what you just said, I'm very
the list of
comfortable
what
with
they
that.
normally would
As long as it falls under
require
the
under New York State?
inspection, we would repair it.
I got a question with the advertisement. I mean, it says to allow New York State inspection services. To me, that implies doing New York State inspection. How do we get from that to repairs?
Well, that's what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, when we were
And,
talking about it earlier, I
and
was
the-
thinking more in terms of the like more incidental repairs. If you were gonna do, if you were gonna do these major things, that might run afoul of the way.
So it
was
really doesn't
worded.
even say unrelated repairs.
In their application it does. In their application it
That's
does.
what you were
But in
saying.
the advertisement, though.
Right.
Took me a while to get it.
Oh,
The
okay.
section that's referenced though, it is for auto repair.
You guys,
shops.
the section that's referenced in the notice is for auto repair. And if
Oh, okay.
a reader were to go to that section, it would be even broader than the New York State inspection and associated repair.
Okay,
Right, it would
so then,
include
then the
those
repairs
items
fall
that
under
specifically said they
it
would.
legally, is what you're
Yes.
saying, Pete.
So that
In
means.
your
argue.
opinion, in your opinion.
Oh, we
That-
would win. If
Yeah.
somebody sued on that, we would win, because it references a
broad.
section,
Yeah.
and citizens are imputed to know the language of
Well,
this.
it's
So are the inspections themselves a conditionally permitted use? If you're using a section that talks about auto repairs, then how do we get to state inspections?
Because that's separate, but then they refer to the
Well-
auto repair part, because,
Where?
go ahead, I'm sorry.
I
Pete.
think didn't Harold make a determination that New York State inspection was not something that was
Granted under the
under the
first,
prior
yeah.
approval?
That's
Yeah,
right.
he did.
Right.
Yeah,
The previous application that was heard by the board, the zoning board, was very specific to certain services they were providing at that site. And the auto repair services wasn't contemplated at the time. It was
Yeah, well, I understand.
dollop work, cleaning, oil changes, I'm trying to think there was a third or fourth. Obviously, the car washing and the fuel pumping and all like that was.
And
What I-
the state also requires that we be licensed as a motor vehicle repair shop. So if you're not licensed as a vehicle repair shop, you're not allowed by New York State to actually conduct.
Okay, so you're saying by inference of asking for the inspection, you already inferred that you want to be a repair shop?
Those are two
According
different
to the law.
things. You can be an inspector and not a repairer.
But my question
Not a
is,
shop, according to
are
what
you
he's saying.
saying, Harold,
That's just how New York State basically
Light repairs.
licenses, New York State licenses motor vehicle repair shops. They don't get into say, they don't license a transmission shop or an engine shop. They
okay.
just license repair, and the only people who can, and it's like, they license motor vehicle repair, so then with that, the only people who can do state inspections are the ones who have that license. You
All right.
couldn't say, set up a shop, we just do New York State inspections, because they also require that you have the ability to do light repair. So they'd also, I don't think, want places to set up. We do New York State inspections, we plug you in, look at it, you're good. If you're not good, well, don't look at us.
Yeah, that-
We can
So
help you out.
the concerns I think that we talked about are too many cars waiting and noise, and including the first one being cars left overnight. You guys have no, it's not your intent at all to do this.
No cars are
So-
left overnight.
I guess what I'm wondering is how can we make sure that the resolution is clear that that does not happen?
Just
Put it in it, no cars overnight.
No cars left overnight.
You don't have a problem with
And
that.
and there was some language
We don't-
similar to that, that
Because-
was in the planning board resolution.
Okay.
Okay.
To actually have a vehicle stay overnight, that would lead us basically say that we were doing major
Responsible,
repair.
yeah.
Yeah, and we don't want to get into that.
Okay.
Is everybody okay with saying no major repairs? It's kind of broad.
Yeah.
That doesn't really mean, what does it mean?
Yeah, right.
That's
I would
why I
rather
asked if
say,
everybody's okay
I
with
would rather say, if they get a New York State inspection sticker, to be an inspection site, that they're allowed to do the repairs on the cars that they inspected and on other cars in that category.
That
You're
could-
very
but
comfortable
But
with
that
that,
could
right?
be,
It could
that
be
could be
muffler work
major
and-
repairs.
All right, but if they don't want to do them, that's up to them.
You're comfortable with
Make it
giving them the
full
authority to do it?
We don't even have it set up to do that.
Why would we do that?
No, I know that, but you could, that could change
Well, just
tomorrow.
because it, according to New York State, you have to have this in order to get that. We gotta give them a repair shop sticker. But, I mean, you're gonna sit there and list light bulb, tail light, mirror.
No, but I
You
think,
know,
but we're not talking about doing that, we're
That's
talking
the
about
difficult part of
excluding
it, trying to-
certain major repairs.
Which
Well,
they've
like-
said that they
Aren't gonna do,
they
so why
want to
don't we give them the
exclude.
authority
Yeah,
to do
okay,
it?
well, then, like you said, engine work,
Yeah.
right?
It would be
Transmission?
like-
Engine, transmission,
saying,
exhaust.
Valvoline down the street also is a licensed repair
Right.
shop, does inspections, but they don't do the major repairs either, so it pretty much would, for an example. would
Reflects
fall-
to them.
Pretty much falls into that.
Yeah, it's the same
that
thing
same-
myself, so.
So you had the three things, right?
Yeah.
Allison, you're a good taker.
So, yeah.
What were the three things they just said?
They weren't gonna do engine repairs, transmission work, or exhaust. They weren't gonna have cars left overnight. They don't want that life responsibility.
That's why you're great. You don't have a problem with any of that, right?
No.
Okay.
Your application.
I make a motion.
I second it.
Okay.
Whatever
Grant-
helps you.
yeah, right. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I take that motion back before we do it.
Well, you just have to
I
embellish
believe
it a
this
little
is
bit.
an unlisted action. Okay,
Second.
make a motion on unlisted action.
Okay, no further seeker review necessary. All right, so we have a,
I make a motion that we accept it with those three categories, or four, whatever it was, the four things that we discussed.
after our,
Then you voted
after our
on that
seeker.
second.
Yeah.
So let's vote on the seeker motion.
I'm sorry?
That's okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
And the main motion?
Now I make the motion that we grant them the inspection, okay, with the repair work, to do the repair work other than those four categories. Three categories and one no car overnight.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great, thanks.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hey, you two Delta Sonic guys, this guy here does a good job for you. He has, we've seen him in a couple applications, and he does a good job.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Okay,
You too.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, you too, thank you.
number 3.
Okay, for seeker, it's unlisted action, so negative declaration for seeker.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Make a motion to approve the outdoor storage of the propane cabinet.
Second.
Right.
Any
Looks like a
conditions or anything? Yeah. If we haven't in the past,
No.
I didn't see, I mean, you look at the.
Comply with all the.
I say I'll make it,
Fire complies with all the
complies with the fire
fire
codes and is within standards of others in our area.
Yep.
Okay, we have a motion to approve with
Mike
that
seconded.
condition, and we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. How we looking, no concerns next month, obviously, okay. And we extended this month for 3 weeks, did we, or 2 weeks? A week?
You mean this calendar?
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
I've been talking to a lot of people, but at this point in time, well, the scheduled submission deadline is passed.
Mhm.
So
So next one would be for January.
next one
anyway.
would be for
Perfect.
January,
Good.
correct? Unless something happens.
Well, we always
and-
have that.
and- Right, but we're running short on that time
I've
because
talked to 3 people
I'm
who are
running out of
happy.
time.
Yeah, I've talked to 3 people who are happy with the January 6th meeting date.
Okay,
So they
great.
feel like that it's okay to not have one in December.
Good.
Because
Okay,
the next one is the first week of January anyway.
Okay.
So, but there's at least been 3 phone calls or inquiries on that.
Yeah, I'm expecting
Yeah.
a few.
That's
coming
okay,
down the pipe.
that's all right.
Yeah.
All right, anything else? All right, everybody have a good Thanksgiving,
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, can you? I don't remember if I got one.
and we will adjourn.
I just want to call them.
No, I don't know if I got one. I remember one. I remember